Allies can become enemies in a heartbeat, and enemies can sometimes become unexpected allies. The streets she walks are filled with shadows, whispers, and the unspoken rule that survival is earned, not given. In the final episodes, we saw her. Confrontations intensify, her strategies sharpen, and her enemies circle closer, each one hoping to exploit the smallest weakness. But what is a weakness when your mind never rests? Shanti has always been more than just a player. She is a force, a storm that disrupts every plan around her. Every glance, every conversation, every silent move holds meaning. And those who underestimate her often pay the highest price. The empire she's part of is not forgiving. It does not forgive mistakes, hesitation, or doubt. And yet, in her journey, she is not just seeking power. She is seeking respect, survival, and a place where she cannot be shaken. The closing chapters of her story make this clear. The game is larger than anyone imagined, and the consequences of each decision echo far. Beyond a single life, we watched as alliances shattered, secrets were revealed, and loyalties tested. Friends who once stood by her side turned into opponents, and enemies who seemed unstoppable found themselves outmaneuvered. Shanti's journey is a reminder that, in a world ruled by ambition, every moment counts, every choice matters, and every silence hides a story. Even as the final pieces fall into place, the tension never eases. Her enemies have learned that confronting Shanti is not simple. Her strategy is precise, her patience endless, and her instincts unmatched. And yet, the question lingers. What drives her beyond power? Is it revenge, survival, love, or something deeper? Something the world has not yet seen? The episodes leading to the end reveal layers of her personality that few could predict. Moments of vulnerability emerge, but they are fleeting, almost hidden, because showing weakness is not an option in her world. Every interaction is a test, every alliance a gamble, and every silence a warning. The closing thoughts of this season force us to reflect not just on what Shanti has done, but on who she is beneath the surface. She is fearless, calculating, and relentless, but also human. And that duality is what makes her unforgettable. As we look back on the season, the rise of Shanti is more than a story of power. It is a story of ambition, resilience, and the unyielding will to survive. Nothing about her journey has been simple. Every victory came with risk, and every risk demanded courage. In the final stretch, the stakes were higher than ever. Her enemies became bolder, her allies more cautious, and the world around her more unpredictable. Yet, through it all, she moved forward, unshaken, proving that being a force is not just about strength, but about the ability to endure, adapt, and strike at exactly the right moment. And now, as we close the season, one thing is clear: Shanti's story is far from over. The echoes of her choices will resonate long after the screen goes dark. And the legacy she is building is one that will be remembered, feared, and studied by everyone who dares to enter her world. Her journey teaches that in the realm of power, there are no guarantees, only calculated risks. And Shanti has mastered the art of taking them all, leaving a trail of lessons for anyone who believes they can stand in her way. The season unfolded with a series of moves that tested every alliance and exposed every secret, showing just how fragile power really is. Shanti's rise was not sudden. It was calculated, built through observation, patience, and knowing exactly when to strike. Early on, we saw her navigate a world where trust was rare, and every interaction carried hidden motives. Allies appeared supportive, but the shadows of betrayal were always close. And Shanti had to learn fast who could be relied upon and who was merely waiting for the perfect moment to take her down. Key figures emerged, each influencing her path in unexpected ways. There was the mentor who guided her but demanded loyalty in return, the rival who constantly tested her boundaries and reminded her that dominance is never guaranteed, and the quiet observer whose silence held more power than any open threat. Each encounter shaped her strategies, forcing her to adapt or face consequences that could destroy everything she had worked for. Moments of confrontation became turning points, defining not just her position in the hierarchy, but also the perception others had of her. Every action, every word, every glance had meaning, and those who misread her underestimated the force they were dealing with. The stakes were high in every interaction, from tense negotiations over control to whispered threats in the dead of night. And Shanti proved again and again that she was not to be underestimated. She moved through the network of power like a chess master, predicting moves, setting traps, and making sure she was always one step ahead. Her enemies learned quickly that brute force alone would not defeat her. Strategy and timing were everything. Along the way, personal moments surfaced, hinting at the cost of her ambition. Loyalty was tested, family bonds strained, and friendships fractured under the weight of ambition. Even those closest to her had to question whether they truly knew her, because Shanti revealed herself only as much as she wanted the world to see. Her victories were never without consequence. Each gain in territory or influence required careful planning, sacrifices, and occasionally, acts that blurred the line between right and wrong. Key events like confrontations with rival factions, betrayals by trusted allies, and the discovery of hidden agendas kept the tension alive, reminding everyone watching that in her world, no one is safe. There were moments of brilliance where her insight turned potential disaster into triumph, and moments of vulnerability where the weight of her position threatened to overwhelm her. But through it all, she demonstrated that survival in her world depends not just on strength, but on intelligence, adaptability, and the courage to act when others hesitate. As the season progressed, patterns emerged, showing her ability to manipulate situations, anticipate threats, and turn even unfavorable circumstances into opportunities. Allies who once doubted her became cautious supporters. Rivals who mocked her became wary opponents. And the game around her shifted in ways no one could have predicted. Every revelation, every secret uncovered, every power move contributed to a narrative of relentless ambition and calculated risk. The season reminded viewers that Shanti's journey is not merely about ascending a criminal empire, but about mastering the complex interplay of loyalty, fear, and influence. She proved that knowledge and foresight are as dangerous as any weapon, and that the most powerful player is the one who understands not just what people want, but what they fear. In the end, the events of the season highlighted the delicate balance between trust and betrayal, power and vulnerability, showing that every decision carries weight. Every action sparks consequences, and every character in Shanti's orbit is connected in ways that shape the ultimate outcome of the story. Through these moments, the audience witnessed not only the rise of a force to be reckoned with, but also the intricate web of choices, consequences, and alliances that define her world, leaving a lasting impression of a story where power is never static and survival is always earned. Shanti is more than just a player in the game. She is a study in complexity, a combination of intelligence, ambition, and survival instinct that makes her unpredictable and dangerous. From the outside, her rise might look like pure strategy, but beneath every calculated move lies a mix of emotions, instincts, and personal motivations that drive her forward. She is fearless, yet she feels deeply, making decisions that sometimes appear cold, but are rooted in a desire to protect herself and those she values most. Her loyalty is selective, not because she cannot trust, but because experience has taught her that trust is a rare commodity, and misjudging it can be fatal. In every encounter, whether with friends, enemies, or allies, she reads the room with precision, anticipating reactions, identifying weaknesses, and exploiting opportunities. This is not mere manipulation. It is an understanding of human nature, a skill that sets her apart from anyone else in her world. At times, her ambition seems insatiable, pushing her to take risks that could jeopardize her safety or reputation. But these risks are always calculated, and even apparent mistakes often conceal a deeper strategy. She is resilient in the face of betrayal, unshaken by confrontation, and unwavering when the stakes are highest. Yet, she is not without vulnerability. Moments of hesitation or doubt appear briefly, revealing the human side of a figure otherwise defined by power and control. It is in these moments that the audience glimpses the inner Shanti, the part of her that weighs the cost of her choices, fears the consequences, and understands that every gain comes with sacrifice. Her relationships reveal this duality most clearly. She can be nurturing and protective, forming alliances that are genuine. But she can also be ruthless when those alliances threaten her position or her goals. The season leaves us reflecting on more than just power struggles and confrontations. It is a study of loyalty, ambition, and the human desire to survive in a world where every decision has consequences. Shanti's journey demonstrates that strength is not only measured in dominance, but in the ability to adapt, to read people, and to anticipate moves before they happen. The overarching theme is that power is never static, it shifts, it tests, and it exposes vulnerabilities that most would prefer to ignore. Betrayal is constant, lurking behind smiles and handshakes, reminding everyone that trust is always conditional. And even the closest alliances can unravel in an instant. Survival is another core theme, not simply in the physical sense, but in how one maintains influence, reputation, and authority in a world built on chaos and ambition. The season illustrates that the line between right and wrong is blurred. Morality is often a luxury, and decisions are judged by results rather than intentions. Shanti embodies this tension perfectly, as she navigates the gray areas between loyalty and self-preservation, showing that calculated choices often define outcomes more than passion or emotion. Another recurring theme is the cost of ambition. Every victory comes with sacrifice, and every move forward risks creating enemies and burning bridges. Shanti's story reminds us that ambition can isolate as much as it elevates, and that those who pursue power relentlessly must also bear the weight of solitude and scrutiny. The season also teases the fragility of influence. Even the most carefully constructed alliances are temporary, and circumstances can shift in ways that no one anticipates. Shanti's ability to maintain her edge depends not just on strength, but on insight, timing, and the willingness to make hard choices others shy away from. The narrative encourages viewers to consider what it truly means to be a force. In a world of unpredictability, how much risk is worth taking, and what lines can or cannot be crossed without losing everything. Looking forward, the possibilities for Shanti's next moves are endless. The alliances she has forged and the enemies she has made suggest that the next season will test her resilience more than ever. Will she consolidate her power, or will cracks in her empire begin to show? Will past decisions come back to challenge her, or will she continue to outmaneuver those who underestimate her? The story hints that while Shanti has mastered survival, so far, the future demands even greater vigilance and cunning. Fan speculation is inevitable, as each choice she made this season lays the groundwork for future conflicts and triumphs. Some predict her dominance will expand, solidifying her place at the top, while others foresee the emergence of new rivals who can challenge her in unexpected ways. One thing remains clear: Shanti is not static, and her evolution is central to the drama. Thematically, the season underscores that power is an ongoing process, not a destination. It is earned, defended, and constantly contested. It is shaped by relationships, perception, and timing, and it can vanish as quickly as it appears. Shanti's story reminds viewers that influence is fragile, and that every decision, every conversation, and every alliance carries weight. As the screen fades on the season, the narrative leaves open questions that drive curiosity and speculation. Who will rise? Who will fall? And who will emerge as Shanti's ultimate challenge? The themes of survival, ambition, and loyalty create a foundation for ongoing tension. And the audience is left anticipating how these dynamics will unfold in the next chapter. The season's closing moments emphasize that in a world where power is fluid and every choice is significant, the future belongs to those who think ahead, act decisively, and never underestimate the consequences of their actions. Shanti has proven she can navigate this world, but the journey is far from over. And the lessons of this season will echo in every move she makes, every alliance she forms, and every enemy she confronts, making the next phase of her story as unpredictable as it is compelling. As the season draws to a close, it becomes clear that Shanti is not just a character in a story. She is a force whose impact lingers long after the final scene. Every choice she made, every calculated move, and every risk she took has shaped the world around her, leaving consequences that are impossible to ignore. The season reminds us that power is never handed out, it is earned, defended, and often taken at great cost. Shanti's journey highlights the duality of ambition and humanity, showing that even the strongest players are bound by emotion, conscience, and consequence. The way she navigates alliances and confrontations offers lessons about foresight, patience, and the subtle art of influence. Yet, the season also leaves us questioning what lies ahead. Who will rise to challenge her next? Which alliances will endure? And which betrayals are yet to come? The answers are unknown, but the anticipation fuels the excitement and keeps fans theorizing, debating, and rewatching key moments for hidden clues. Shanti's story is a masterclass in complexity. She demonstrates that being powerful is not just about dominating others, but about understanding them, predicting their moves, and making every interaction count. Her victories are not solely the result of strength, but of intelligence, timing, and an ability to remain unshaken under pressure. At the same time, the season makes it clear that every action carries a ripple effect. Decisions made in moments of necessity can have long-term consequences, shaping relationships, shifting the balance of power, and opening doors for rivals who wait patiently for the right opportunity. This creates a tension that keeps viewers on edge, wondering who will adapt, who will fall, and who will emerge stronger. The narrative also encourages reflection on human nature, how ambition can inspire greatness, but also create isolation. How loyalty can be fragile, and how trust must be earned, not assumed. Shanti embodies all of these lessons, moving through her world with purpose, strategy, and an awareness that the stakes are never static. For the audience, the season is more than entertainment. It is an invitation to analyze, theorize, and engage. Every scene is layered, every dialogue carries meaning, and every outcome is a prompt to question what might happen next. The closing moments leave viewers with a mixture of satisfaction and anticipation, highlighting both Shanti's triumphs and the challenges that still lie ahead. They serve as a reminder that in a world ruled by power and strategy, nothing is permanent, and every player must constantly adapt or risk being left behind. For fans who have followed her journey, the season's conclusion is a chance to reflect on her growth, the lessons learned, and the resilience required to survive at the top. It sparks conversations about morality, loyalty, and the true cost of ambition, inviting the audience to take part in the story through speculation and discussion. Ultimately, Shanti's legacy is one of influence, intelligence, and relentless drive, leaving an indelible mark on everyone in her orbit and reminding viewers that the world of power is as much about psychological strategy as it is about action. As we anticipate the next chapter, her story continues to inspire theories, debates, and predictions because her journey is far from over. Every move she makes will have consequences. Every alliance will be tested, and every enemy will be watching, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And this is what makes her story unforgettable because in the world she inhabits, being a force is not just about surviving. It is about mastering the game in ways that are both subtle and profound, leaving audiences eager to witness what comes. Next, discuss what could happen. and reflect on the brilliance and complexity of Shanti as one of the most compelling characters in the series. Every decision Shanti made this season created ripples that extended far beyond the immediate moment, touching allies, rivals, and even those who were on the margins of her world. Actions that seemed small at the time often carried consequences that reshaped the balance of power entirely. When she chose to trust selectively, to act decisively in tense situations, or to manipulate events behind the scenes, it forced everyone around her to adapt, question their assumptions, and reconsider their strategies. These ripples created a chain reaction, exposing hidden loyalties, surfacing long-buried secrets, and highlighting weaknesses that no one else had noticed. Some alliances became stronger, not out of loyalty, but out of necessity, as Shanti demonstrated her intelligence and her ability to predict moves before they happened. Others began to fracture, unable to keep pace with the shifting dynamics she orchestrated. The most striking effect of her choices is that they revealed the true nature of the people in her orbit. Friends who appeared unwavering were tested, revealing their self-interest or hidden agendas. Rivals who seemed formidable were forced into compromise, caught in the wake of her calculated maneuvers. Even neutral parties had to choose sides or face the consequences of inaction, proving that in Shanti's world, passivity is rarely an option. Beyond the immediate fallout, her decisions created a psychological impact, sending waves of uncertainty through everyone connected to her story. The unpredictability of her actions kept allies vigilant and enemies cautious, because Shanti operates with foresight and patience, often turning situations to her advantage before others even realize the game has changed. This ripple effect extends to the larger narrative of the series as well. Events that unfolded because of her choices influence not just the